Hey everybody, time for WWE Fastlane Predictions 2019. This pay-per-view will kind of decide some of the final major stories for WrestleMania. So without further ado, here we go. On the kickoff show. And honestly, these two deserve to be on the main card, but with this stacked card, it is nice to see a switch. You have Rey Mysterio versus Andrade. Both are great athletes. They could fight, wrestle every week, and still tell a good story in the ring. This is kind of like an old school who can one up the other with performances and victories and everything. And honestly, their matches are fantastic. They have great in ring chemistry. They both have that lucha libre style, which I love and enjoy. I think this will be fast paced. I think Andrade comes out on top, but I think him and Mysterio will gain mutual respect and maybe eventually form a tag team or move on. Next up, and this is not done in any particular order, we have the Usos defending the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships against Miz and Shane McMahon. I believe the Usos will win, setting up a Shane and Miz match at WrestleMania. Maybe this time Miz will be the good guy. I like Miz. Great work, consistent performer, great character, knows how to get the crowd to react one way or the other. Underrated, in my opinion. One of the greatest Intercontinental Champions of all time. And I do think that that's going to set up a great matchup for WrestleMania. That should be the first match of the show, in my opinion. Next up, the Revival will defend the WWE Raw Tag Team Championships against Aleister Black and Ricochet and the team of Chad Gable and Bobby Roode in a triple threat match for the Raw Tag Team titles. Now, Aleister Black and Ricochet are working really well as a tag team. Gable and Roode are a good tag team, but I think eventually Roode needs to go on his own. The Revival, a great, underrated, old school, hard smash mouth style. No, like they say, no flips, just fist, and I love their wrestling. They are a great, great tag team. I will sing the praises of the Revival. I was going back and forth on this one. I think the Revival will win, and I think Zack Ryder will win a number one contenders match for him and Kurt Hawkins, or they will get to choose Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder to face them at WrestleMania, and that could be a heck of an entertaining open or second match of the show. So I'm going with the Revival retaining. Next up, Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch. If Charlotte wins, it'll be Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania for the Raw Women's Championship. If Becky Lynch wins, she will be added, making it a triple threat. And she won the Royal Rumble, so rightfully she should be in the match already. But anyways, with that aside, technicalities and such, I think Becky wins here. Great matchup. They're going to play Becky as the underdog. They're going to tell the story in the ring. I think afterwards Ronda will come out and lay them both out, getting some heat on her because she is the heel now. She's done some things I don't agree with, but I still respect her as a performer and an athlete. The Shield reunite one last time before Dean Ambrose leaves WWE to take on the team of Bobby Lashley, Baron Corbin, and Drew McIntyre. It was awesome on Raw to see the Shield get back together for one final time. I think the Shield wins here, and Ambrose goes on to face somebody at WrestleMania, and that sets that feud up. That sends him home happy. Next up, Asuka defends WWE SmackDown Women's Championship against Mandy Rose. The problem is, Asuka's amazing, Mandy Rose is great. The problem I have is they haven't had time to let this feud gain much heat. SmackDown Women's Championship has become an afterthought for some reason. Asuka is very talented. I love her work. I followed her in NXT. She was great there. She was undefeated. She came to the main roster, was undefeated. And regardless of what you think about her losing to Charlotte, I do think that they should have given a couple more weeks for this feud to build some steam. Mandy Rose had that story with Naomi. I think Mandy comes up short here and Asuka retains, but I think Mandy puts up a great performance, and that'll set up Lacey Evans versus Asuka for WrestleMania, which will be a good matchup. I think Mandy Rose is far more talented than what she's given credit for. She's good in the ring. She's great on the mic as a character. I think, though, it's not time for her to win the title. Not that she's a bad performer. I think she's great. I just think they need to give it a few more months for her to really build her character more. And also her tag partner's no slouch either. Sonya Deville, great athlete, great matches. Honestly, I think that this will show what Mandy can do and kind of test the audience's reaction to what she's doing in the ring and see what she needs to do to take herself to that Trish Stratus, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks level where she is one of the best. And I think she has that potential. I think the sky is the limit for her. So I think Asuka retains in one hell of a match, and that sets up Asuka, um, you know, Lacey Evans feud, and that could also give Mandy the Women's Memorial Battle Royal win. So yeah, that's what I'm going with that, and I think Asuka will continue to have a good title run. Next up, the Boston Hug Connection. Sasha Banks and Bayley defend the Raw Women's Tag Team Champions against Nia Jax and Tamina Snuka. Can't take away from any of these four. Tamina, I think, is underappreciated. She's been there for a long time, a veteran. Um, in ring wise, she's good. On the mic, she doesn't talk much, but you know what? Not everyone needs to talk. Sometimes I just like to watch someone go out there and beat the crap out of their opponents, lay them out, and that's what Tamina does. And Nia's great on the mic and great in the ring, so they make a good team. I think they come up short, but I think Nia and Tamina put them into a corner and somehow they just escape maybe a hot tag. They have the potential to make this an old school tag team match where the fans get up out of their seats to give them a standing ovation. That's how good these four are. But I give the match the Boston Hug Connection, and I think they will face maybe Trish and Lita at WrestleMania, which would be one heck of a match. That could be middle of the show. Honestly, this year's WrestleMania I think is going to be better than last year's and maybe one of the best ones we've seen in a while. Next up, main event, or might be the main event here, should be. Daniel Bryan defends the WWE Championship against Kevin Owens. Now, people get impatient for the storylines. I think what's going to happen is the winner of this will face Kofi at WrestleMania. But I think Daniel Bryan retains here, whether by cheating with Rowan or Harper maybe Rowan gets kicked out and the lights go out and Harper comes in, does his thing and attacks Kevin Owens, and then Daniel has Harper and Rowan, and later Sammy comes back as a good guy and joins Kevin. But anyways, I'm going to give this match to Daniel Bryan. I think Kevin Owens is very talented, but I think that because he just came back and hasn't had much time back in the ring yet, I think they need to give this a little bit of time. I think he'd be a good addition to SmackDown. SmackDown has a lot of star power, but they could use one more main event player, and I think Kevin Owens is that guy. You have Andrade coming up, going to be a main event player very soon. Rey Mysterio can always do that for you. Jeff Hardy can, but him and Matt are doing their deal with the tag team stuff, which is amazing, by the way. Good to see them back together. You have Orton. You have a lot of good stars. You have Mustafa Ali. You honestly have a bright future on SmackDown. But I think that right now it's Daniel Bryan's time still. I think he needs to walk into WrestleMania as the champion. So that's all I have for you guys. I hope you enjoy Fastlane, and I will do the WrestleMania predictions here soon. Take care, and thank you very much.